This is what happened in Doha, and to be honest, tennis has never seen anything like it. Alex Eala is seated. The Khalifa International Stadium was filled to full for a first-round match against Aryna Sabalenka of the Czech Republic, who was ranked outside of the top 100. We are discussing a total sellout. Let me help you understand this. Grand Slam winners were practically playing to half-empty arenas while Eala was causing complete chaos with 7,000 yelling supporters. After examining their full lineup of superstars and previous world number ones, the tournament directors declared, "You know what? Our main attraction is this 20-year-old Filipino. The way tennis scheduling operates has been totally upended by that decision." Chaos music erupted when those tickets dropped, but it vanished in a matter of minutes. For what was supposed to be a quiet Tuesday afternoon game, scalpers began to show up. The throngs outside the player entrance were getting out of control, so security had to request help. This was like witnessing a different world evolve in a sport where early rounds typically result in sporadic clapping and people checking their phones. Like they were getting ready for battle, the Filipino community in Qatar mobilized. Social media took off. Music activated community groups. Fan clubs worked together. This wasn't a paid advertising or corporate marketing campaign aimed at increasing ticket sales. People who had been waiting their entire lives for someone to represent them on the stage showed their unadulterated passion. Imagine the contrast occurring simultaneously throughout the space. Music. The top-ranked Aryna Sabalenka, which has won several majors, filled up to about 30 or 40%. Entire music parts of EGA SWAT's early matches were vacant. In theory, these players ought to win every competition they participate in. Rather, they are fighting for scant attention while this young player, who has never even won a WTA title, is the center of attention. If you're one of those well-established champs, that has to mess with your brain. After winning Wimbledon, dominating Roland Garros, and reaching the pinnacle of the sport, this occurs. In a single afternoon, a player outside of the top 100 produces more electricity than you have during the whole season. That reality has terrible psychological effects. Here's what Eala discovered that others haven't. Backhands and serve speeds are no longer the only factors in tennis success. It's about standing for something greater than personal success. Those Filipino supporters weren't merely applauding tactical mastery or clean winners. They were thrilled to see themselves represented on a worldwide stage that has traditionally been dominated by American and European faces. Music. The actual match turned into this amazing mental challenge. Imagine being hit by a loud boom on each and every point instead of receiving courteous tennis applause. That kind of energy has the power to either uplift or totally overwhelm you. Eala had to deal with 7,000 people yelling her name without allowing it to cause her to overdo anything. Valentova also had an advantage. She is a strong player with a large serve and hefty ground strokes. In addition, she had defeated Eala in their prior encounter. The Czech player had a better head-to-head record, and Eala had statistically struggled against that type of play. This should have been simple for Valentova on paper. Rather, Eala demonstrated the extent of her mental development. She might have been totally crushed by that strain 2 years ago. She used the energy of the crowd as fuel this time. Music. She started using the defensive techniques she learned at the Rafa Nadal Academy. Until the Czech players lost patience, she began extending rallies and forcing Valentova to hit more balls. Music. In the second set, there was a moment that instantly went viral. Eala was practically in the doubles alley after being pulled so far wide on her backhand side. She ran, slipped across the hard court, and managed to flick this passing shot down the line that precisely caught the corner. The ensuing roar was so powerful that nearby seismographs recorded it. It's not overstated. On scientific apparatus, the noise was actually being measured. Eala took the microphone after winning and began addressing the audience in Tagalog. The place completely went insane. She praised the foreign workers who spent their hard-earned money on tickets, thanked them for making her feel at home, and forged an emotional bond that went beyond the actual tennis event. It is this connection between the athlete and the community that elevates sports from mere amusement to something far more profound. Music. In the meantime, Sabalenka is most likely sitting in her hotel room, wondering how she went from being a serious title favorite to an afterthought at a music event. She has won numerous Grand Slam awards, accomplished everything the sport has to offer, and music reached the top of the rankings. However, the organizers supported a person who has never won a WTA event with all of their marketing resources. However, the tournament directors made the proper commercial decision. In Qatar, Eala sells tickets. Sabalenka doesn't, at least not as intensely. The Filipino expat community is incredibly passionate and turns up in large numbers. Other groups either don't show up with the same enthusiasm or just don't have enough music to generate that vibe. This reveals a significant blind spot in the WTA's athlete marketing strategy. The tour's promotional focus has traditionally been determined by rankings and Grand Slam counts. However, cultural ties and demographic music support are entirely missed by those conventional criteria. Even if Eala is ranked lower than Sabalenka in Qatar, she is far more valuable from a business standpoint. After looking at these figures, tournament directors all over the world are discovering that their scheduling approach has been outdated. Top seeds have been automatically assigned to prime time slots in the hopes that this will increase attendance. What if, regardless of their position in the rankings, the player with the most devoted fan base should receive those spots? This also highlights Southeast Asian markets' enormous, unrealized potential. The WTA has been pursuing China for years, with varying degrees of success. Music, however, the Philippines stands for something distinct. A market motivated solely by sentimental investment. Music. The key to unleashing that potential is Eala. If she keeps going in this direction, we might see more events aimed at Southeast Asia or at the very least acknowledgement that she has emerged as a key global marketing asset. This may appear to be a one-time novelty or cultural curiosity to viewers from other continents, but it's actually revealing a significant change in tennis demography. For many years, American and European celebrities have controlled the infrastructure, media attention, and sponsorship revenue in the music industry. Everything is directed toward those well-established markets. However, due to the lack of a champion to rally around, large music tennis fan bases in places like the Philippines have been totally disregarded. These days, they do music, and they're demonstrating that they can create environments and economic effects that are on par with anything taking place in established tennis strongholds. Established performers who have grown accustomed to thinking their jobs are safe should be really concerned about this reality. Because Eala Simply Music showed that when it comes to packing stadiums, emotional connection is more important than professional achievements. There it was, the proof. Grand Slam winners have empty chairs. For someone who has never won a professional title, the crowds were sold out. Moving on, Eala experiences great pressure in an entirely different way. Because music, can't risk putting her on outside courts or burying her in morning sessions, tournament organizers must now carefully plan her matches. Rather than the schedule determining her placement, music, controls the schedule. That's how star power is defined in textbooks. However, there is actual risk present here as well. A battle like this requires a tremendous amount of emotional energy. In front of home-like crowds, young players frequently prevail in these intense, emotional confrontations before losing the next round. An established phenomena is the adrenaline hangover. Eala's squad must oversee her recuperation, assist her in falling asleep, and redirect her energies on the upcoming opponent. Round 1 does not determine the winner of the event. She still needs to apply tennis fundamentals against ever more challenging opponents, regardless of how tremendous the audience support was. The true problem as the week goes on is controlling expectations while preserving that competitive advantage. People's memories of the entire tournament will be shaped by those pictures of empty seats at other highlighted games in contrast to the packed ELA session. It makes no difference who wins the trophy at the end of the week. The instant those initial chants began to reverberate around the stadium, Alex Eala became central to the Qatar Open 2024 narrative. She brought vitality, and color to what appeared to be yet another unmemorable early-season event. This psychological reality must be processed by Sabalenka and the other top seeds. Based on their performance and results, they are currently better players, but they are unable to replicate Eala's effortless atmosphere. Music. They have to face an unpleasant reality, which is a mental blow that is hard to recover from. Becoming the most successful athlete does not immediately translate into becoming the most significant or captivating player. relevance and excellence are not always synonymous. Tennis officials urgently need to comprehend what the Filipino supporters demonstrate. Professional sports are sustained by fervent, intensely involved fan bases. Even if you have the most technically talented musicians in history, the sport will eventually perish if no one is motivated to participate. Eala possesses a quality that better instruction cannot provide or enhance. Because there are Filipino populations in almost every major city on Earth, she has an innate global following that follows her wherever. That is a competitive edge unrelated to tactical planning or shot-making. Players like Sabalenka, who have dominated via pure tennis brilliance, are being forced to understand that modern star power demands more than just winning matches due to cultural and demographic factors. You must stand for something that connects with them more deeply. Thus, while Grand Slam winners played to disperse crowds, Alex Eala simply sold out the entire stadium for a first-round match. She was chosen by the organizers of the Qatar Open as their highlighted attraction music, above world number ones and past champions. And that choice produced a previously unheard-of environment and financial success. In tennis, star power is no longer determined by rankings. It has to do with making connections. Eala has fully grasped that.